Somewhere right now, a 62-year-old is signing a form that could quietly cost them $200,000 over their lifetime. They don't know it. Their friends don't know it. Even their bank doesn't ask about it. And by the time most people figure it out, the decision is already locked in. Let me tell you about David. David worked 38 years as a plant supervisor. Steady job, steady paycheck, nothing flashy. The day he turned 62, he did what almost everyone around him had done. He walked into the Social Security office, filled out the form, and started collecting. $1,200 a month. It felt like freedom. It felt like the finish line. What David didn't fully understand is what every month of waiting was actually worth. From 62 up to his full retirement age, each month he claimed early permanently reduced his benefit. But if he had waited past his full retirement age, all the way to 70, his benefit would have earned delayed retirement credits at roughly 8% a year, guaranteed, with no market risk, no stock picking, no luck involved. That $1,200 check David locked in at 62. If he'd waited until 70, it could have risen to somewhere around $2,100 a month. Same man, same job, same lifetime of work. Dramatically more money, just from waiting. Here's the part that stings. This information isn't hidden. The Social Security Administration actually publishes an estimate comparing your benefit at 62, at full retirement age, and at 70. The information is available, but most people never study that comparison before they file. They walk in tired, ready to be done working, sign one form, and walk out having made a decision that will follow them for the next 20 or 30 years. Now compare David to his neighbor, Robert. Robert had a similar job, similar savings, similar health. But Robert had one thing David didn't. He'd actually read his Social Security statement. So instead of claiming at 62, Robert used his savings to bridge the gap. He lived off his 401k and a small pension for 8 years, while his future monthly benefit kept increasing in the background, untouched, month after month, quietly building towards something bigger. Here's roughly what that growth looked like on paper. At age 62, Robert's estimated benefit was $1,200. At his full retirement age of 67, it had grown to around $1,700. By age 70, it reached roughly $2,100 a month, guaranteed for life, with annual cost of living adjustments built in. The rough break-even point, where Robert's total lifetime payments catch up to David's, lands somewhere around age 80. Live past that, and every year afterward, Robert comes out further ahead. There's something else Robert got that David didn't, and it rarely gets talked about: peace of mind. Because his guaranteed monthly income was higher, Robert never had to lean as heavily on his investments to cover his bills. When the market dropped, David felt it immediately, because a bigger share of his monthly life depended on his portfolio holding steady. Robert had a bigger guaranteed floor under his feet, so a bad year in the market was an inconvenience, not a crisis. Now, waiting isn't right for everyone. If your health is failing, if you have no savings to bridge the gap, or if you genuinely need the income at 62, claiming early can be the smart move for your life. This isn't about waiting blindly. It's about knowing the math exists before you decide, instead of finding out 10 years too late. Here's what almost nobody realizes. Social Security isn't a personal investment account, but it functions as the only guaranteed, inflation-protected, growing income most retirees will ever have. And the growth rate it offers for waiting is higher than almost any safe investment you could put your money into instead. Financial advisors have a name for this. They call it the best annuity money can't buy, because you can't actually purchase this deal anywhere. The only way to earn it is to wait. One more thing worth knowing, especially if you're married. If you're the higher earner, delaying your claim doesn't just raise your own check. It can also raise the survivor benefit your spouse would receive after you're gone, which means this decision can outlast you entirely. And one caution before you plan around any of this. Delaying Social Security does not mean you should delay Medicare. Most people still need to enroll in Medicare around age 65. regardless of when they claim Social Security, or they risk gaps in coverage and higher costs later. So why doesn't everyone wait? Because claiming early feels safe. It feels like control. After decades of working, the moment you're allowed to get paid without punching a clock feels like relief, and relief is a powerful pull. Nobody sits most people down and walks them through the 20-year chart. Nobody shows them David's paycheck sitting next to Robert's paycheck, decade after decade, the gap growing wider every single year. Robert didn't have some special advantage David lacked. He wasn't smarter, and he didn't earn more over his career. He simply studied one document at the right time, and that decision changed the entire shape of his retirement. That's the part that should stay with you. This isn't about being wealthy, it's about being informed at the one moment when information actually matters. Before you claim, do the math. Look at your health, your savings, your other income, and ask a real question. Not, when can I claim, but when should I? Because the version of you at 70, receiving that larger check every single month for the rest of your life, is counting on the version of you today to actually find this out in time. David's story isn't rare. It's the default. Most people claim the moment they're eligible, not because it's the smartest choice, but because it's the first choice offered to them. Robert's story is the exception, and it didn't take extra money or extra luck to get there. It took one afternoon spent actually reading the numbers, instead of assuming someone would explain them along the way. Your Social Security was growing this whole time. Now you know.